The entry of M1 Max to market, meaning the laptop with Apple Silicon inside, was a big revolution, and seeing the performance of M1 chips even make it bigger. That means they were not only about numbers, we've seen its performance in real-world usage. But hey, nothing is perfect, so this MacBook also has its own downsides. And according to the fact that this is the very first series of Apple Silicon, can we trust it? Should you buy it if you haven't already, or is it better or logical to wait more for newer series and updates to come? Let's take a closer look to it. Talking about the design, as always, Apple has done an amazing job to bring functionality along with simplicity. Magic Keyboard is super responsive, it is nice and easy to type with, and thankfully we don't have those butterfly keys anymore, which was really annoying to have. Touch ID is super fast actually, and it is very useful to have it on a Mac. It just makes your job a lot easier. Just put your Touch ID in and it's done. The amount of volume we get from these Air speakers is really nice and they sound super clear. There are 3 built-in microphones in this Mac, which my voice is being recorded by them. Another great thing in this MacBook is the trackpad. This Force Touch trackpad is very responsive and it is a lot enjoyable to work with it. And I can say it is a big part of Mac's good experience. It has a 13.3 Retina display which supports P3 white color. It is actually a pretty good display that you can get with only 1000 bucks. This 720p camera is not the best webcam ever, but Apple claimed that it works better with M1 chip. Have you heard of instant wake? It may sound silly, but when you open your laptop, it automatically wakes from sleep, which doesn't save you more than 2-3 seconds, but when you go to other laptops without this feature, you really appreciate it. But what makes this Mac different is the M1 chip. This MacBook Air really kicked up storms into this industry. M1 is not the best chip ever or any close to perfect, but it is a big step forward that had a huge impact on tech world. Thanks to this Apple ARM-based chip, we have seen big improvements in many areas. The first one is the performance. M1 in most fields outperform Intel chip easily, and this is huge because this is only the first series. Like this M1 MacBook Air, which is fanless in many ways, does a better job than the $3,000-$4,000 Intel MacBook Pro. And all these new features come with a fairly good price. So, what stops people from buying this laptop? There are 4 major reasons for this: app compatibility, external GPUs, not having boot camp, and after all, this is only the first series and later we might face some new problems. Apple's first step for solving compatibility issues was introducing Rosetta 2. What actually Rosetta does is to translate Intel-based app codes readable to M1. So this way your M1 Mac is able to run Intel-based apps. But the problem is that it doesn't work for all apps, and as Apple says, there are 2 types of apps that Rosetta can't translate. But after all, I think this is not M1's biggest issue because in this just short amount of time that M1 have been released, many apps have been optimized for M1 and many apps are getting optimized. But if you really need an app, just go to isappleSiliconReady.com and there you can see many apps and if they are optimized or not, and you can search for your app. Another new feature on M1 is that now you can download your iPad and iPhone apps on your MacBook. So this way now you have so many more apps to download and use on your Mac, which is real good. But the point is, not every app works perfectly on Mac, and not every app developer wants their app to be accessible on Mac. So there are some limits. But overall, I think it's not a bad feature to have, and now you can download some of your iPhone and iPad apps on your Mac. Not supporting eGPUs is another thing Apple decided to do on their M1 Max. I actually don't consider that as a bad thing because eGPUs on many laptops, especially Apple Macs, decrease your performance and reduce your speed. And everybody knows M1 for its performance and speed, so having eGPU on M1 doesn't make sense at all. Another thing is that now you can't connect multiple displays to your laptop, which is really bad, and Apple promised to fix this in future macOS Big Sur updates. But if you really need multiple monitors connected to your laptop right now, you can use a third-party drive, which actually works pretty well. Bootcamp is not available on M1, so if you want to have Windows on your Mac, you should go with other options. You can use Parallel, for example. You can go with free trial or buy the whole thing. Hey, there's a question. Should you wait or should you buy it right now? This Mac series with Apple Silicon inside was a real revolution in terms of efficiency and performance. So I don't think Apple do the same thing again for newer series. There will be, of course, evolutions as always. They will probably fix some bugs and downsides we recently talked about. However, in terms of design, MacBooks haven't changed for a long time. I think if Apple wants to change something dramatically, it is the design. And M1 is very powerful right now, so it can last for some time without having big changes. So if you more care about performance and you have your favorite apps working on M1, go ahead and buy it right now. But if you want a new look for a laptop, at least you have to wait a few months. If you want a more detailed review on M1 performance, I'm putting a video from Max Tech up here. Hey, that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like, share and subscribe, and I see you in the next one.